Hey guys, Adam Savage here in my cave. I have talked in the past about how much 3D printing has changed my life. This video is about how it can change yours, because friend of the channel, Brian Henson, has opened a 3D printed portrait studio in New York City that does stuff just like this. It's called Dopl, and we went there, and so let's go there. And so here we are in the city of my youth, Soho, New York, to be exact, where Dopl has its flagship store. We're gonna go in and talk to Brian about how they got started and what they offer, and I'm gonna get scanned in some costumes, and I'm gonna end up with some custom figures. I'm super psyched. Hello, sir.
How are you, sir?
Very good.
Great to see you.
Good to see you.
Well, welcome to Dopl.
Dude, I'm just like wrapping my head around these, but they look amazing.
This is what the Dopl figurines come out looking like.
I gotta say, in my mind's eye, it's not like I was thinking of it being lacking in detail, but I didn't realize there'd be this much detail.
Yeah, what we love about it is it's not a technical product at all. It's like an artistic product. So the geometric scan is very accurate, but then the color is part of the printing, which you're going to see.
Yeah.
And the end result, it's almost like a watercolor colored figurine. It just, we really work hard on making sure that it's a beautiful figurine, that it's an artistic figurine. It's not perfectly accurate like a photograph.
And there's multiple sizes, am I right?
Yeah, you can get 4-inch, 6-inch, 8-inch, 10-inch. You can actually get any size you want, because a lot of people will do it in scale, so that they'll have their whole family. They want them all at their actual heights. So then we'll print people, by a scale, 1/6 or 1/8.
Right.
And so we can do it that way as well. But most people, their first ones, they'll get a 6-inch or an 8-inch. These are 8-inch. That one's 10 inches. Goes all the way up to 14 inches. Here's 14 inches.
Oh, wow.
Is real tall.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and the detail gets better and better the bigger you get.
Yeah.
So that's a lovely family shot. Also, yeah, there's 3 of them there. That's quite a complicated print.
Is it really?
Yeah, because you have all the work that you have for each person. So when you do a group like 3 like that, it's absolutely beautiful, but a lot of work.
And pets and dogs.
Pets. Yeah, a lot of people, I do all my dogs.
Yeah.
We sort of shamelessly say, get your dog Doppled now and you can love them forever, because as we all know, us dog lovers, you lose your dogs. And so it's great to have them immortalized on your shelf. I have all my dogs.
And it looks like you've got all sorts of different pairings. Like there's informal ones, and I see more formal ones, like wedding pairings and stuff like that.
Well, I think it's really interesting. A lot of it's a lot of people wanting to do their kids.
Yeah.
And then, like with me, I did my daughter over 4 years, and it's great to see her changing.
Oh, fascinating.
Yeah, and so some people will do like over here. Oh. Okay, so this is pregnant mom, and there she is.
Oh my gosh.
And there's her kid getting older and older.
No
way.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of fun, and we'll get a lot of people will do things like that.
Okay, so of course my first thought is I want to put on some costumes and get scanned. Have you guys done some cosplayers?
Yeah, we did quite a few. The cosplayers, obviously, those are kind of the most fun, and sometimes the most complicated, because as soon as their costumes get really complicated, they're harder to do, but also very satisfying when they come out.
So when someone walks in here, what is the process by how they get one of these?
Well, they come in, and first they have to try to understand it, because they don't get it.
Yeah.
And I keep saying it's like the 21st century photograph.
Right.
Whereas when we were kids, it would be on the piano, would be all the family photographs. What I've done now at home, I have a shelf of my whole family this way. And I love the Doppels because it's not capturing a moment in time and space. It's just capturing you. and then you put it wherever you want.
Right.
And so it's like a living memory as opposed to locked in a time and space as a photograph is. So anyway, so once people figure out what they want to do, then they come in and we put them in the Dopl scanner.
And this is the business end.
Yeah. So then we put them in the Dopl scanner and we scan them, and there's a big mirror here so they can figure
so they can check themselves out,
Yeah,
right?
so they can decide what they want to do.
Oh, their pose and
Yeah,
everything.
no, they
Sure.
figure
Okay.
it out, and
That's
then
great.
they go in, and once they're doing the scan, it's actually super quick.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's, how many cameras now? 90? 87.
So it's photogrammetry.
Yes.
Okay.
And so it's 87 cameras, but it's instantaneous,
Yeah.
so it's a flash, so you don't have to worry about standing perfectly still. I think there are other scanning processes where cameras go around you and people have to stand real still, but then ultimately they kind of look like
They're holding
a photograph
right,
from
yeah.
1900,
Right,
you know, when you had to
yeah,
stand
yeah.
like this because the photograph took a second to do. So what's great about this is it's instantaneous, so somebody can, do a pose and when it catches it.
I'm curious if people have come in and surprised you with some of their requests, like expanded your idea of what was possible.
A lot of the costume stuff is fantastic, or how people want to be captured is lovely. How they want to be captured.
Right.
Often, I think the best ones are just be yourself. Like I think some of the best are when they just walk in off the street and do it, rather than going, oh, I'll book an appointment, I'll go, I'll figure out what I'm going to wear, because that really just captures your essence. But yes, of course, people do. Yes, so there's some odd requests sometimes. There has to be some private scans every now and then.
Oh, okay. There's a casualness to some of these where I'm like, if you're going to go have a portrait made, you're dressed so casual. And yet there's an intimacy to these that is definitely different than a posed like portrait photograph.
Yes.
And that's really lovely. It's also the designs on the shirts. Like, that's one of the things that's blowing me away, that you can read all the, Minnesota.
Yeah, almost the more patterns you have, the more fun it is, because all the detail does come out. So if you have printed shirts and stuff like that, all of that is great.
Now, your co-founder, Michael, is here.
Yeah, Michael is here.
Hey, Michael.
Hey, Adam. Good to see you.
Really nice to meet you. So, tell me about the impetus for starting Dopl.
Well, Michael and I met in 2018, and there was a previous company to Dopl that was called Doob, and Michael was running it here in America, and I did that thing where I walked in off the street into their store and I said, this is fantastic, and I emailed them and said, can I get involved? So then I got involved with that company, and I got involved with Michael in 2018, and ultimately, that was a company that was owned, had international ownership, and ultimately we took it over. Mm-hmm. So then we took it over right at the beginning of the pandemic. Which actually worked out really nicely, because it was like there was no pressure. We can't open. Right. So let's just concentrate on the technology. So what we did was we spent a year and a bit just concentrating on the quality of the scanner, the technology of the scanner, the quality of the printing, and what our secret sauce would be for the printing. And we did that until we could open this store. And this store has been open for just about a year and a half now.
Fall of 2021.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it gave us sort of that chance to, we had a lot of learnings from the old company, and there was a lot of things we wanted to improve, and that year gave us time to really hone in on all sides of it.
Well, I'm curious specifically about that process, because the thing that most surprises me about this is that in none of these figures is there an uncanny valley. That's the thing, that's kind of what I expected, frankly, because that's what I've seen almost every single time I've seen a figure. And I was like, they must have had a huge development process to thread that needle. So I'm curious how much time there was looking at prints. We're like, I don't know if this is going to work. Trying to get to there.
Yeah, there's a couple parts to the process. The key part of it is really the scanner itself and how to really capture, all of those details and all of the, those little nuances that make them feel alive. And I think that's there's the technical side of it, but one of the great things of, working with Brian is he also understands sort of the emotional side of it and how to pull that out of these little figurines so that when you see them, they just feel right. It's getting that feeling right that really makes all the difference.
So it's like you guys had to find the minimum resolution to bring out that kind of detail.
Right.
Yeah, and basically like the mission of the company is we want to be able to do the highest resolution scan of a person or a pet that you can get, but at a consumer price.
Right.
So, there are scanning processes that are $1 million scanners that are higher resolution than ours. And so what we're trying to do is create that artistic product so that the product that comes out is capturing a soul, so it's not super photorealistic because as you said, that creates that uncanny valley thing is when you're really trying to be super realistic. But if you're taking a sort of creative approach to it, you get a more beautiful product that is more capturing the soul of the person as opposed to trying to be absolutely accurate.
It feels like your institutional knowledge from your career is super critical to that success. Just like understanding where that line is.
I mean, one of my favorite stories is, something we didn't used to do but we do now is we put a little glisten in the eye, and that came from Brian sort of saying, with puppets, we always put a little sequin in there so that when the light hits it, it like sparkles and comes alive. And it's such a huge impact on the product, just that little tiny detail.
I'm curious what kind of work you do with the customers here in front of the mirror before they go into the scan to help them get into the pose for the full 3D.
Yeah, I mean, it's the experience is, a big part of the whole thing. It's the product, but it's also when people come in here, it's, you want them to have a lot of fun. I mean, you're going in, you're getting 87 photographs. You're usually coming in with your friends or family and people that you love. You're looking at the pictures, but there's that side of it, but then there's the other side of, you want them to have the best product possible, both from a technical part, you want it to stand properly, you want it to be, you don't want it to be fragile, but you also want it to tell the best story. And this is a very new product, new experience. People don't really know how to do that. So for us, we're really a guide to them in the scanning process and, try to get them in a pose that does everything for them and they feel great when they see it.
That makes it, you sort of talk about what's the most you? Right. What makes you feel the most you? And for some people, like my son always does like cool. He always does like this and things like that, and his look great, amazing. And my daughter had to come. The first one, she was like, I have to bring Tiger, so she brought her stuffed tiger and her with her stuffed tiger on her head because that was what was going to be her. I mean that's really you're just what you don't want is somebody to. You can see we're trying to not have them pose and smile like they're on a vacation having a photograph in front of a building. Just try to get them to really just be themselves.
There's a sort of dynamic relaxation about each of these poses.
And everyone sort of, tells their story differently. Even just looking at some of the employee ones here, I mean, we have Ella, she's director of technology, and she always just has these really cool, interesting poses of herself.
I mean, this one of Ella, I just think is so great. Ella just doing test print. This was while we were in our developing the scan quality. It's so beautifully composed. She's wearing these headphones. She's doing notes, and then looking off to somebody who's trying to get her attention.
Great. So can I get scanned?
Oh yes, please.
Okay, awesome. Let's do it.
All right. So you brought stuff, right?
I did bring some stuff. So this is the teleportation rig.
Yes.
This is the scanner.
Yes, this is the Dopl scanner.
Can you?
So you can see there's 87 cameras all around you.
Yeah.
There's a higher density of cameras there, so we basically have people face that area, but there's quite a lot of resolution, obviously, going all the way around.
Yeah.
And this is the scanner.
There's a lot of, so this is a ton of data out of 87 cameras
Yes, it
at
is.
high resolution.
Yes.
That in and of itself is a technological challenge.
Yeah, and I'm not the right guy to,
No, fair
to
enough.
describe exactly how all that works. But when you get scanned, you can see it on the screen outside. You can see as the images are coming up and getting loaded. Yeah, and then all of that has to move out to our factory in Brooklyn, and then formed into the avatar, and then cleaned and
Even that's a big
manipulated.
chunk of data to get from here
Huge.
to Brooklyn.
Yes, it's huge.
Yeah. Can we do a scan?
Yes, I would love to.
All right, ready? And 3, 2, 1.
Okay, look at how crazy are we? Oh, okay, that is good.
That is
Look at
good.
that.
All right, so now the data goes out to the factory, yes?
Yes, it flies through ether space.
ether space.
To Brooklyn.
Can we go through meat space and go to the factory?
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
All right.
Let's go.
All right, Brian, Michael, we're here in your factory in Brooklyn. Tell me what happens to the file once it gets into this building.
So the first step is after you take your scan, we run it through our proprietary sort of pipeline and software, and it produces a raw 3D model that is, really very, it's already very precise and very accurate. But prior to 3D printing it, we do some light touch-ups, make sure everything's perfect, and get it ready and create the 3D printable model. This is Ella,
Hi, Ella.
Director of Technology. She's going to show you a little bit of
Look at that, you've got me on the computer.
Yep. There you are.
Oh, look at that.
So those are all the photographs.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you can see she's got your model.
This is a role model that we can preview.
Oh, that's amazing.
And the key here really is getting the raw model to come out as perfect as possible. It makes that translation to the final model, more and more accurate.
To streamline the workflow.
Exactly.
Right.
And this is the same Ella that you saw in the little print that I had.
Oh,
with the headphones.
that's you! You're a wonderful poser for those figures. Yeah, there you go. I really love that. Are there any fabrics or textures that are really difficult for you to replicate? I'm just thinking if someone's going to come in,
Right.
what should they try and avoid?
Generally, one thing you always want to avoid is something shiny because of the lights in the scanner. It'll come out a little bit dull. Also, whites and blacks. Having texture, having patterns, it really helps in a way calibrate the scanner, so it can be very, very precise. When it's all one color, it starts to look.
It's harder for the drape.
Right,
to be
right. So the
accurate if it's-
photogrammetry is overlapping each of its photos,
Yeah,
and
if
if
it's
there's
black,
patterns, right.
if it's patterns, it's great. If it's
Yeah.
black or if it's white, it's a little bit hard.
Once we get this file, we create a build that we're able to load in the printers with all the models that are going to be printed at the same time, and we go from there.
So you batch print a whole bunch, more than one at a time.
Yes. So it depends on the size of the prints. So it can be anywhere from 3 to 25.
Oh wow. Oh, okay.
Well, we'll show you how big. 25 would be as if they're all real small.
sure.
Right.
Sure. All right, shall we?
All right.
Yeah.
After you. We can step over to our printers over here. So the first step in the production process is we'll go in and we'll load
look at that.
the different models, and you can actually see where they're positioned from the different angles, and you can see how the size of the models determines how many fit on there.
And so, right, you can pack them as densely as you want because you're getting them all out of the same batch.
Exactly. I mean, there's some things to consider in terms of like the size and the amount of data and how much it can handle, but
Right.
Theoretically, yeah, you can.
And is this a powder deposition printer?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's a really, and you'll get to see the whole process. It's a really interesting process where it lays down a layer of white powder, and then it lays down the color for just that one thin layer.
So it inkjets or something across that layer?
Yep.
Wow.
And then that color is also the binding material to the next layer of white powder.
Oh,
so what
phenomenal.
ends up happening is you have this sort of box of white powder at the end, and you're reaching in and excavating the figures, which come out because they've been bound together by their color.
And is the white powder that comes out of that recyclable, or are you able to send that
Everything
back to
that we don't use, we vacuum back up and goes right back into the printer.
Amazing.
Because it's expensive.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So the printer has finished printing.
Yeah.
It's a block of white powder. Maybe we could just open it up now.
So it's like a big cube of white powder there.
Exactly.
Okay.
And the miniatures are sort of baked into the middle of it. So we're going to start vacuuming up the excess powder, and you're going to see them sort of come to life and take shape. And then we'll, pull them out and, get on with the rest of the finishing process.
Full disclosure, we're shooting this like a cooking show. The scans I did in costume, I did in LA 3 weeks ago, and they printed them here. But I have not seen a single thing. So this is me seeing one of my scans for the very first time. All right.
All right, let's get
Let's do
started.
it. Oh, this looks like fun. I would assume sometimes there are delicate parts you're trying to watch out for.
Yeah, so we'll take a look at the build prior to excavating them so that we can see sort of where the glasses are and where the individual fingers might be sticking out, where we have to be really careful. Until we do the dipping in the next phase, they're actually very fragile still, so we have to be really careful with them.
Oh, I'm starting to see some shapes. It's an archaeological dig.
So in this case, the reason why we've left so much powder on the face is because there are glasses on it. And if we start vacuuming when we're using sort of the big vacuum, it might pull them right off.
Fair enough. And in this case, the powder isn't like a byproduct. It's literally holding the figure in that orientation as it prints the layer.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, how exciting. Oh, this is just as much fun as I thought it would be. Okay. Oh,
Did it break?
I did. I totally broke his toe. They are incredibly delicate. I thought I knew, but I did not know. Totally why we can't have nice things. All right, I'm going to be even more gentle with this guy. Oh, wow, they are so light.
I thought that was going to be you. Thanks for doing it.
I recognize my own dumb smile. That's great. Even at this early stage, it looks amazing. All right. So you're moving your hands around to allow exposure on all the surfaces. And then you're only dipping it to get it wet and allowing it to run around now, yeah? Mm-hmm. Okay. So it's not like you're holding it under the liquid for a long period of time.
And what also is happening is the powder, once it hits the CA solution, turns translucent. So that's why all the colors pop. That's the chemical reaction.
That's what this is, a CA solution.
Yeah.
Holy crap, I've never seen that much before. Now I understand what I'm dealing with. All right, thank you. Here we go. I see why you want to keep your hands moving on it. You don't want to glue yourself to it.
So this is the way you get it. So this is not fully packed, because
Right,
this is
right.
packed lightly, so that
Sure.
you don't have to dig through too much stuffing. But of course, as you know, they're very fragile.
Yes.
So they come a little more wrapped than this.
This is like Christmas. This is really exciting. Oh! Oh my gosh, the armor. Oh my God, look at that.
Okay, that's really fun.
It's gonna make me laugh for my whole life. Oh, that's great. Look at that's crazy that you got all that like leather work along the back. All right, and then here is the Clark Kent version of me. That's incredible. I love it. Dude. Wearing the shirt
You're in
that I'm
the
wearing
same
now.
outfit.
Yes, exactly. Dude, that's amazing.
There.
Oh, wow. This is like what I pictured when I first made this suit. Look at that. The glow sticks in my shoulders even look somewhat translucent. That is far out. Oh my goodness. And then looking off into the stars. Brian.
How cool are those?
It really is.
Well, there you go.
It's an amazing process. And I really think that there's such a range here in all the different textures and materials, and all of it's really showing.
There you go.
Dude.
You've been doppled.
I love, I'm gonna come back for more. I'm just bring some more costumes down to LA and log some more of these for archival. It's archival, that's what it is. It's archival purposes.